How about this? More college lunacy. I call it liberal lunacy on campus, if you like. They got a free speech wall at Ohio University. Some students wrote pro-Trump graffiti on it. Other students complained it was offensive. They wiped the wall clean. Did you know it? Joining us now is John Shields. He is the author of Passing on the Right, Conservative Professors in the Progressive University. John, I have to ask you, what is really going on at our universities? It seems to me it's not just a denial of free speech, it's the denial of intellectual give and take, which I always thought was the function of a university.
I think that's right. I think these students don't seem to understand that a good education is offensive. And a good education is offensive because it pits competing conceptions of the good, competing conceptions of justice against one another. So being offended, I think, is the price we pay for a good education, and it's the price we pay for our diversity.
I thought going into this year that this kind of activity on college campuses would have peaked. That people are so exasperated with it that it would start to tail off and decline. But the exact opposite is happening. It's getting worse. There are more and more denials of free speech and free expression. Do you think we could expect an end to this anytime soon?
I think it's the million-dollar question, right? And it's hard to say. I think we need to see more leadership from faculty and administrators and presidents, because if they don't push back in a constructive way, this could go on for quite a while.
But these administrators, they're baby boomers largely, aren't they? And it's the baby boomers who are encouraging this kind of anti-free speech movement, right?
Right. Well, they have an interest in it. I mean, it helps expand their domain, right? Because these movements often require, more administrators and more programming, and so it's in their interest, I think, to encourage these movements.
Didn't you go out and check out conservative professors and how they get along in progressive universities? What were the results?
I did. Well, there's certainly some political bias in higher education against conservatives. There's no question about that. It's harder to get work published that reflects conservative points of views. It's harder to get hired. And some of this bias is driven by misinformed prejudices, right? So lots of liberal professors think that conservatives are too close-minded to be professors. But some of this bias reflects an intellectual orientation. That is, our politics inclines us to find some questions more interesting than others and some explanations more plausible than others. And so in a way, I think the problem with the university today is not that there's political bias, but that there's not more of it, right? That our political biases are too one-sided, right, and we need to see a broader spectrum of views.
Are we likely to see a broader spectrum of views in the near future? I can see you smiling. I suspect you're going to say no, not a prayer.
Well, I think it's going to take some time. And I think the good news is that conservatives can succeed in higher education, and that it's not as an intolerant place as they sometimes fear it is, and it's a more welcoming place than we sometimes think it is. So I think it is a place that conservatives can succeed in, and I think we need to see more conservatives in higher education.
Oh, well said, John Shields. Well said indeed. We like the book, by the way, Passing on the Right. I've read parts of it, and we appreciate it, and that's great to see you on the show. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. There you go.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good book. Not bad at all.